All right, morning Tom. Michael's behind the camera, my name's Dave. If I start calling you Michael, don't be offended, it's just because I'm talking to him more than you. If you had a van with a DO35 before, you know how this works. If you don't, that'll go where your ball normally does. It'll locate in, you push the button, you're locked on. If you can't put the cap on properly, it means you haven't locked it on. To get it off, push the red button, slide that across, and then wind out as normal. That's your nice little red cup, keeps it looking sexy when you're not dragging your caravan around. All of this stuff is going to be in your front boot so that when you get your van, you know where it is. You've got a breakaway cable attached. If the pin pulls out, the brakes on the caravan come on full lock. The theory there is something catastrophic's happened here on the back of your car, the van's going to stop. If you take it off in your driveway or down the lake or somewhere and you haven't put the handbrake on strong enough, pull the cord because your van will stop. It's really hard to try and stop and drag it on that. You got your wiring looms and some plug for your battery and the 7-pin round as you needed, so we changed that over for you. Jockey wheel, make sure you take it off when you're travelling. If it's not there when the truck driver delivers it to you, make sure you ask for it because he's probably got it on the back of his truck somewhere. Depends how the transport's doing. Gas bottles, both full. We're going to use this one for some demonstrations today, so it's pointing that way. Leave it pointing on that one until it runs out, then swap it over, because otherwise you're going to run out of gas on both bottles if you forget which one you're using. You got an A-frame tap just down here. Try and make it part of your setup routine to check it's off. If we crack it open, we can get a dribble of water. If your pumps are on, it can drain your tanks out. So just make it part of that you hook up and unhook. These won't be on there when you get it, they're our magnets. Let's just get rid of this so I can have two hands. All of your keys have been labelled. And the guy got a bit keen and he's labelled both sides of your toolbox. They're all the same key, so you don't have to worry too much. You got 4 keys for 2 locks. The guys are going to do a detail on this between now and pickup, so you'll get rid of all that swarfy stuff. And what we'll do before it goes is we'll go around and make sure everything's locked. So the keys are all going to be in a bag, which is in my pocket, which will be in your top drawer. But we'll lock everything up for transport. What we got in the front boot is your jack. Well worth getting it out and having a look at it so you know how it works. You can utilise it instead of that jockey wheel if you like, because it's a big bottle jack and you can just bottle jack it up instead of cranking handle that way. You got a tyre brace, stabiliser arm handle, I'll show you where that goes. Awning hook, it's a bit breezy today, so Mick's going to splice in a previous awning one we've done. And all your annex stuff has been put in the other side. So again, we'll lock all up the boots that are already clean. You do have a light switch up here for your front light, your work light. So this is probably the side you'll put your jockey wheel and stuff. So if you're pulling up at night, you can access your work light. If at exactly 92.5 kilometres an hour, you hear a whistle, that's just at the wrong angle by half a whisker of nothing. So just loosen off the ends with an Allen key, twist it a bit, and it won't whistle anymore. We'd like to go for a drive with it on the back and see if it whistles, but the boss doesn't let us do things like that. Because this boot's already been cleaned, I can lock this one up. Anything with a black latch like this is all the same key. Again, he's labelled up multiple keys for you. And that's now locked. So if you push on it, you can't get it out. Your hot water system, you've got a Redarc endless hot water system. It's only endless, of course, depending on how much water you've got. There is a little switch here that you can turn it on and off with. We'll turn it off once we've had a demonstration inside, but it will only come on once you try and run hot water anyway. We'll talk more about that in a minute. While we're on your water, these are your tank fillers. Pop it out, drop the hose in, away you go. They do vacuum seal in. And I'm just making sure they're both locked now so they don't disappear on you. Fill up both tanks. You can crack your taps though down here, so you're only draining out of one tank or the other. You might use that for safety's sake. Whoop, which way am I going? So now I'm only going to use your front tank, or you might use it for ballast, a bit more weight at the back because you've only filled your back tank. That's how you can pick and choose. We've got them on both. You've got an inlet here for mains pressure, so if you're happy to hook up at a caravan park or somewhere, you can just hook the hose in. We'll talk about more about that on the inside. Up on the back end here is your grey tank. All you got to do is open the big red handle and grey water comes out. So any water going through your van ends up in the grey tank and out again. That's fundamentally empty, where both of your tanks are full. We don't know if you're going away straight away, and we have to pressure test stuff. Part of your plumbing, of course, you got an outdoor shower. Hot and cold, so you can wash the beach sand off, wash the dog, wake up your mate in a swag, do what you need to do with it. I'm sure he'd appreciate a nice hot jet of water in the face. Up on top is your TV antenna, which we'll play with on the inside. The black one is your radio antenna. It's a floppy, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Satellite feed in. If you're at one of those places that's not getting you any picture and you've got to catch up with the cricket, the soccer, the footy, whatever you're into, you can hook an antenna or a satellite dish up to that, and you can still watch whatever you need to be watching. You've got some 12-volt outlets by the wheels, primarily there so you can run a compressor to blow up your tyres. We're going to set them at 50, which you can vary substantially depending on the roads you're on, of course. Fridge vents, keep them clean, don't squirt up. If you look up in there, you can see the mechanisms of your fridge. You get that stuff wet, it doesn't enjoy it. So be careful when you wash your van. There's instructions about the best stuff to use for that as well. 15 amp cord in, and your main circuit breaker's on the outside. They think it's rules that'll come in, so they're doing it early. Save you having to change your van later. Toot. Little green lever up, which is just that one, releases your cassette. You then get a drag handle so you can wheel it through the caravan park. To empty it, all you got to do, spin that around, unscrew it, pushing the button down here releases air in, so it'll pour out nice and easy. If you've got the cassette out, you can't physically open it because that's the handle we'll show you on the inside. Use the chemicals to break down your waste though. In saying that, you need to do everything in your toilet for the chemicals to work. So yes, you've got to poo in your loo. He's also locked. That's your jacking point. Like I say, open up your jack, get familiar with it. Once you've done that, you'll never use it. You'll probably use it as your jockey. We find most Lotus people do. On the back end, we've got your jerry holders, your wood basket, your spare tyre. Now, because it's going on a truck, that's where you're going to put your licence plate later on. You've also got a work light out the back, but all the switches for the other lights are all inside. It's only that front one that you work on out the back. So that's primarily your utility side. Now we've got the fun side. We've got your table with a whiskey light up the top, so you can see what's going on your table. They are only rated to about 25 kilos. You do have a 240 power outlet, so put your electric fry pan on there. Of course, you've got to be plugged into power for that to work. Up in this one, we've got your entertainment box. Now, we've got a 12-volt outlet. The TV bracket will slide straight into there. We've got stereo feeds, so you can run whatever your TV's playing back into your stereo and get sound out here. You've also got stereo control here. Now, your stereo's already on. I'm just turning on this control panel for it. And if I look at the screen, if I tap the button, I'm now changing the volume in the outside, which you may get on the video. I'm waking up whoever the kids are inside, so I've turned that volume up, or I'm turning up the volume everywhere. You can choose your input source, so any of the auxiliaries, Bluetooth, all that sort of stuff. If you turn this off here though, it turns off your entire stereo, not just the outside bit. So have a bit of a play with that, they're really good. That one's your rooftop feed, the wide antenna. That one's your satellite feed. If you wanted to watch the telly out here, it's already wired through for you. You've also got 12-volt outlets, and as many of these as possible, I'm going to leave up like that, so you guys know it's a little pivot, not a flick latch or something like that. How do I get into it? Away you go. You can adjust all of these up tighter if you need to, but any of the silver ones are all the same key as each other, but they're different to the black ones. Another 12-volt outlet. You got your track for your annex materials, which has already been popped in there. Your VIN plate details up in here already, and you do have a light in there. Try and get in the habit of turning your lights off if you're not using them. It's just a free camping thing that some of us get into. You've also got down under here a gas outlet so you can cook your barbecue out here. Stabilise the legs, just take the weight, pull the handle, drop them down. Vertical is best. That bar we showed you before, or the star brace, whack onto the 19mm nut, drop it to the ground. Make sure you put them up for travel. You can get them locked in, because then you're not going to lose them as you go. The other side to your toolbox, put whatever you like in there. That's your stuff. Your bike rack. Now there are keys for that. They're already in your bag because it's already locked, and let's be honest, it's a bike rack. And we're back to the front again. Now, things like your door, if you've had a van before, everything's good and easy. If not, it's a new thing. Use the key. It's nice and flush, that's now locked. It's sitting out, it's unlocked. You give it a flick, your door's open. Handle up is how you split your doors. So in summer, you can lock that one and brace that across and lock it open anyway. Normally we'd do that today, so we've got fresh air and stuff, but I know the boys will make some noise. You've got to roll it so it won't grab onto your awning, and work out which of your outside lights you want to use, because of course the one above your annex, your awning if it's out, the moths will go to that one, the one under it, they're coming in for that one. All right, climb aboard, young Thomas and Michael. All right, Tom, now we're on the inside. In Mick's wonderful world of splicing and dicing, this will be seamless. The white one is your 12 volt isolator. If you turn it off, everything 12 volt turns off. You can use it as a walking away from the van. It'll turn off your lights, your radio, stuff like that. If you're free camping, no, it'll turn off your fridge. So be aware of that. These ones are all random light switches. The ones on the far right, they're actually split in two, because one side is the orange light outside in one of the globes, the other is the white. So have a bit of a play with the lights so you know which one's which. Don't be scared about labelling them, depends what sort of people you are, I suppose. But when you jump in, turn your white switch on. This is the next box you're going to come into, because this is where everything happens. So it's a good spot to throw your car keys. Your 12 volt circuits, if something's overloaded, it'll push the button out. So if something's not working, you come in, you push the button back in, go in and plug the fridge in again outside or whatever it might be. This is the readout for your Redarc control unit. Now we've got it set to today's date, so it's Thursday at noonish. If I push up or down, it will give me different readouts. So we're on 100% battery charge and maintaining. When it's not on power and you're using it, it'll give you an indication of how long you got. The next one shows you that we're on power. We're getting a little bit of solar registering and your car is not attached. That's through that Anderson plug. But you can see that it's happening in there. A bit more detail for the same sort of animal. There are logs that you can come into to see how much input came in. Now we've only put the date in it today, so they may not be as accurate as you want them to be once you get it. But away you go. All you need to do with that is keep an eye on it if you're free camping. These are your tank gauges, showing that we're full on. Come on. Showing we're full in your fresh tanks, they're on the right, and then your grey tank is on the left, flashing red at us. So we know it's fundamentally empty. They're not as good as you hope they are in reading how much. You're probably closer to 95 in both of these tanks, and about 10% in there, but I'll crack him open so it is physically empty. This is the screen that tells you your hot water system is on. So that red light just tells us that little switch outside's on. If I run your hot tap, once I've turned your pump on, the screen lights up and tells us that at the unit out there, it's registering it's 28 degrees. A little gas picture will come up here as it gets hot. A little bit of think music, there we go. So that's now lighting up. As it gets hotter, obviously the water here takes that little bit of time, but you'll notice the heat. You can crank it right up and it stops at 51. If you've got the tank open flat out, it won't let it get to 51. So you back the pressure off a little bit and the temperature climbs high. So theoretically you don't burn yourself in the shower. It's nice and warm. First time you're having a shower and your missus is out here or vice versa, well, whoever's in the shower's playing with the pressure and the temperature adjustment, you can be out here telling, yeah, you get good now, so that lag's not confusing as all hell. These three switches Water pump off if you're going to hook the hose up, and for travel, down when you want to use your tank water. Aircon, if I turn it off, physically turns that off. It's a 240 cutout for it. And fridge shuts the 12 volt supply to your fridge down. So if I turn that white switch off and I'm free camping, your fridge will turn off. If I've got it stored up and I've got that off, but I've plugged in so I can use the fridge, if I lost 240 volt power, my fridge will turn off. If I've got that on, it'll switch to battery automatically, which may drain your batteries down because it's not getting a power supply from anywhere. So have a bit of a play with that, and hopefully that explains it nicely for you. Your fridge is the next piece of vital kit. Oh, hang on, before that, that's where we've got your couch out, Mickey. Here's all the bits and pieces. So your 2 lithium batteries and the Redarc brain that feeds that. So there's a bit of storage in there. Everything's been, set up by Lotus and Redarc, so it's all working a treat. There is a big 50 amp circuit breaker in there. So if you're not getting any power, something you put in here has come down and knocked that circuit breaker off, or you've had some massive issues. Bit of spare storage, but make sure it doesn't bang into things like your water pipes that feed your outside shower, because you don't want to make a mess of that. We'll put the couch back on before you guys go today. Now your fridge, a little frosty picture here just tells me your fridge is on. If I tap the button, it says we're on maximum cold. The little blue says the compressor's running, because I only turned it on about an hour ago, and we're on power. If we lost power, like I said, it goes straight to battery. So when you pull the cord, it keeps working. There's a lever there and there to open your fridge doors. And even though it's only been on an hour, it's actually pretty cold in there. When you're not using it, you spin these little things out and it holds your doors open. Make sure you turn it off when you do that. And what we'll do now is turn it off. You just hold the button in and it turns it off. There's a couple of other settings you can play with in there, but I'll leave that for creative times when you're reading your books. What you want to have a look at when you do get your van is open all the bottom cupboards and stuff and go, oh yeah, there's my water pump. There's also a 240 volt power point in there, which is the 240 feed for your fridge. Don't forget, you've also got these little kick panel storages. Don't show the missus, because that's where you hide our Christmas present. You'll also find general power points and more of these 12 volt USB spinners. That one I'll leave down so you don't kick it with your boots. Your table, there's a little lever somewhere that I can't find off the top of my head. On the left here, you squeeze it, you can do any horizontal movements you like with your table. If you are going to drop it down to be another bed, you stand on the post, it'll lock all the way down. And then you can get a cushion made up for that, but it's not a real comfortable bed and it's right next to you guys. Push the button again, it comes up. Now we'll tuck him back in, because then we can get the table out of the way so you can walk around with me. As far away as you can when you're packing your bag. Down to the kids' ends. Get them to turn off their lights and their power, unplug stuff, because you've got to have bloody long arms to get over there. They do have little kiddie boards. So if it is little kids, because the littler ones always love the top bunk, you can stop them from falling out. You've also got your ladder for the one to get up the top. And the bottom one, of course, doesn't have a board, because if you fall out from there, well, you're not going too far. It might be for your kid, might be for your dogs. I don't know, but it's a good size. They've all got their own light and power. Coming into the bathroom, we've got your shower. Now, we like to take the shower head off, put it on the floor so it can't jump off in transit. If you're not having a shower, leave the plug in. It stops any vapours from your grey tank coming up, and it stops any smells, and if you've got your grey tank open, it stops any flies or bugs coming in. You've got your exhaust or inlet fan, so you'll have some fun with that. If you're done in the shower, same rule as general camping, turn it off. Now your toilet's the one everyone wants to use. Open the lid. This is the handle we saw on the outside cassette. Open it up, do what you need to do. Once you've done that, the flush button will flush as long as you hold it down. And then shut it off again so you don't get the vapes. You can spin this around, so you can point your legs out this way if you like. And there's pretty little pictures that tell you something's missing. So the cassette's not there, there's no water getting in for flushing, you're 3/4 full, oh, chockers, time to empty it. Easy peasy. Light switches, you guys will play with them. Now, brace your door open for travel so it doesn't bounce around. resist the urge to brace lock it shut using these pins. Because if you trip over coming out the shower, you're in a very small room and it's very hard to get in. So just let it slide around. You do have your washing machine in there, 240 only, and it does use a reasonable amount of water. So, you know, if you're using your water for drinking, you got to drink. For washing, you got to drink more beer, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You do have more storage options up there, of course, and light switches. Like I say, they're scattered everywhere. If you're done in and end, just shut your lights off. It's easy. Your gas only cooktop, point and shoot. Easy peasy. Carry one of those stick matches though, there's nothing worse than sitting there going click, click, click and then realising your gas isn't on. If the lid comes down, it will shut your gas off. Pardon me. But if these are hot, that's glass. If you want to use your grill or your oven, you've got to have the lid up to get the gas flow to happen. This lovely little strap, purely there to stop those doors jingling open and anything in your oven falling out. You do have a range hood, so when you're cooking, all that lovely bacon smell goes out under your annex. Cupboards, central latch. You know, they're not going anywhere, they're great. Now, microwave, don't travel with that in. It's big and it's heavy. And I can't remember if I found the foam tray in any of these cupboards. No, I haven't. We're going to pop it in your drawer, which has got some other prezzies in there for you. Plenty of storage. Now, your TV, seeing as we're working our way around, it's a bit scratchy today, A, because the wind, B, because where we've stacked it up. This is your rooftop antenna. Once it's up, you can spin it around to get a better picture. When it's time to pack it down, there's a peak here and one on the roof. Line them up and then wind it down. Now, Adelaide being Adelaide, we'll probably get a better picture with the antenna down and Vincent Price doing something. You'll have to retune this, of course, so just go into your menu when it gets over and into the channel and retune it. There's no DVDs in any of these anymore because they don't figure people have a DVD player or anything anymore. You can change it to an AV input and stuff like that if that's where you've got your tunes. And we've got your cords feeding up here because it runs on 12 volt of course and your antenna plug. If you were going to shift to your satellite feed, you'd pop it over to there, screw it into that one and away you go. Now we're going to take that off of there in a minute and pop him down here in its box, so your TV will be down under there. Everything else for it though is ending up in your top drawer. Sirocco fan, really cool, haha, that's my dad joke for the day. Speed is one side, timer is on the other side. 3, 6, 9 or 12 hour turn off. So you can shut it down halfway through the night if you're inclined. Positive pressure vent, pop it up when you're on the bitumen road. The theory is that your van will then fill up with clean bitumen air. Once you hit the dirt road, the dust can't come in anywhere because the pressure in here is greater than outside. If you haven't been on the dirt road and you're leaving on the dirt road, make sure it's down, because otherwise the first bit of air coming in is full of dust, which is not a cool thing. Your stereo controls up here as well. Swipe down, bottom left, gives you all your options about where your auxiliary stuff in, and there's a USB tucked up in that cupboard for it. In the bedroom end, you've got more stereo control, more USB power, and the light switch, I don't know if you can see it from here, it does the one in the bathroom. So you can turn the light on in the bathroom before you jump out of bed, if you need to not trip over the dog, the cat, whoever's in the caravan with you. Roof hatch, very easy. Nightshade, fly screen. Don't drive with the fly screen across, it will sag. Spin the little latches, pull the handle, push up. Easy peasy. If it's really hot when you get somewhere, let the hot air out. You can latch it there, or you can latch it just open for a little bit of air, but for travel, always have them down, locked down. More lights, you've got lights coming out of everywhere. You're gonna have a lot of fun finding all your lights. Your aircon. This will also be in your top drawer. I'm not gonna leave it up there for travel. Point and shoot at the panel. Anything you do on the remote, you can also do on the panel. So I've now turned it off using that, not this. But it's hot in here, so I'll turn it back on. You can shut these vents off, more air's coming your way, or open these and shut these, more vent to the kids' way. You probably can't tell on the video, but that's as noisy as they get. You've probably kidding myself because you can't hear it. Always turn it off for travel, which we'll do physically up there as well, and that's also going to be hiding in your top drawer. In this drawer, there's a whole heap of paperwork. So Lotus information that they provide you direct. Also contact numbers that they provide you. So you can ring the plumber if you can't work out something. You can ring the electrician who put it all together if you need to. But all of your appliances have a book. It's worth flicking through it, because quite often the fridge is a 3-year warranty. You can get it fixed wherever you are, as long as it's a Dometic agent, rather than going through the rigmarole of getting caught out. Just pull up and then see it. It's worth flicking through it because there's a lot of information that the question time is normally where we jump into that, but it's a bit hard for us to do that. What's also going to end up in there for you, Tom, will be our workshop report done by Norm and Kane when the caravan came in, which is where we ID what things are, everything's working, stuff like that. It also told us what your wiring was, the fact that they wire it up in case there's a different fridge. It also tells you where different bits and pieces are so that you know. What we'd like you to do once you've got the video and your van, of course, fill out your warranty card, send it back to us so we can send it on to Lotus. They know that it's going on transport. We also give you a bit of a check sheet. What to do before you leave somewhere and what to do when you get there. Not written for your van, but the process is pretty much the same. Importantly, ring us if you're not sure about something. You might think the question's a little bit, I can't get water out my tap. We'll go, right, is your pump on? And away you go. We'd much rather hear your questions. It means I haven't spoken long enough about whatever that topic may be. So ring us if you need to. All of that stuff's also in your magic blue bag. Once you've read through all of that, done your insurance and all that sort of caper, hide the bag in the van somewhere so you know where it is. If you're going to send your insurer a packing list for your van, include numbers that are stamped on your keys. So if you lose your door keys, it's in your outbox because you've emailed it to them, you can get them recut by Camic. Easy peasy. Now that's going to go living in that drawer because it'll stop your tray sliding around, and make sure you lock them for transport. So we'll go through and do a final check on this before it goes on the truck tomorrow. These drawers do have barrel lock, that's what I was looking for. So you can physically lock these drawers, so people, if they get into your van, they can't actually open these drawers. So it's really good for putting camera gear in, your phones, your wallet, stuff like that if you're going for a walk. So then if someone does get in or you forget to lock up, they can't get anywhere. Now that it's in its foam tray, it's better. Like I said, this is where we normally go into question time. And I'd say, Tom, what questions have you got? Your missus' name, what questions have you got? The kids? And then we'd probably banter on for half an hour and hook it up to your car and make sure it's all nice and neat and sexy. A bit hard to do that, but once you get the video, if you've got questions, shoot me an email or give me a call because we've got the photos. We can walk through stuff again. Cheers, have fun with your van.